The Boy and the Street Girl. The city roared with the pulse of dusk, car horns blaring, neon signs flickering, and the clatter of footsteps on rain-slicked pavement. Amid the chaos, a boy burst through the crowd, his expensive sneakers splashing through puddles, his face pale with panic. He was no older than 16, his tailored jacket torn at the sleeve, his eyes wild with fear. "They beat my father," he cried, voice cracking as he stumbled toward a girl sitting cross-legged on the sidewalk, her guitar case open with a handful of coins glinting inside. She looked up, her weathered hoodie framing a face too young for the weariness in her eyes. The boy dropped to his knees beside her, gasping, "He's dying. Please, you have to help me." The street girl froze, her fingers hovering over the strings. This was no ordinary plea, and she was no ordinary girl. Her name was Lila, barely 18, a runaway who'd made the city's corners her home. She survived on scraps and songs, her guitar a shield against the world's indifference. People passed her daily, tossing coins or glares, but none ever stopped to truly see her. Yet here was this boy, Ethan, his face streaked with tears, begging for her help. She didn't know him, didn't know why he'd chosen her, but something in his voice, a raw, desperate trust, stirred her. "Who's they?" she asked, setting her guitar aside. Ethan's words tumbled out. His father, a powerful CEO, had been ambushed outside his office, beaten by men in masks. "They left him in the alley," he choked. "He's bleeding bad. I don't know what to do." Lila's heart raced. She was no hero. Just a girl with nothing but a battered guitar and a past she'd rather forget. But she couldn't walk away. The alley was a grim maze of shadows, the air thick with the stench of garbage and fear. Lila followed Ethan, her sneakers scuffing against the asphalt, her mind screaming to turn back. They found his father slumped against a dumpster, his pristine suit stained crimson, his breathing shallow. Ethan dropped beside him, sobbing, "Dad, hold on." Lila's stomach churned, but she knelt, checking the man's pulse. It was weak, fading. "We need to stop the bleeding," she said, her voice steadier than she felt. She tore off her hoodie, pressing it against the gash on his head. Ethan stared, stunned. "Why are you helping us?" he whispered. Lila didn't answer. She didn't know herself. Maybe it was the way Ethan's eyes mirrored her own when she'd lost everything. Maybe it was the flicker of hope that kindness could still exist in a world that had shown her so little. Minutes stretched like hours as Lila worked, her hands trembling but sure. She'd learned first aid years ago, back when her mother was still alive, back when home was more than a memory. She tied the hoodie tighter, whispering to Ethan to keep his father talking, to keep him conscious. But time was slipping away and the alley felt like a trap closing in. Then a low groan came from the man. His eyes fluttered open, meeting Lila's. "Who are you?" he rasped. Before she could answer, Ethan blurted, "She's saving you, Dad." Lila's cheeks flushed, but she focused on the task, her hands steadying the makeshift bandage. Sirens wailed in the distance. Help was coming, but not fast enough. Then came the twist no one saw coming. Ethan, still kneeling, pulled a small worn notebook from his jacket. "I can help," he said, his voice suddenly calm, resolute. Lila frowned, confused, as he flipped it open, revealing pages filled with intricate diagrams and numbers. "What is that?" she asked. Ethan's eyes met hers, a spark of defiance in them. "It's my code," he said. "I've been building an app secretly. It tracks emergency response times, hacks into city systems to redirect ambulances faster." Lila's jaw dropped. This rich kid, the son of a CEO, was a closet genius, hiding his talent from a father who valued boardrooms over dreams. Ethan's fingers flew over his phone, syncing the notebook's data. "I can get them here in 3 minutes," he said, his voice fierce with purpose. Lila stared, awestruck, as the boy who'd seemed so helpless moments ago became a force of nature. The ambulance screeched into the alley just as Ethan promised, paramedics rushing to the man's side. Lila stepped back, her hands bloodied, her hoodie ruined, watching as they stabilized Ethan's father. Ethan grabbed her arm, his eyes shining. "You didn't have to help, but you did," he said. "Why?" Lila swallowed hard, the weight of his question pressing against her chest. She thought of her mother, of nights spent nursing her through illness, of promises to never let anyone hurt alone. "Because no one should be left behind," she said softly. Ethan's father, now on a stretcher, reached for her hand. "Thank you," he whispered, his voice weak but sincere. Lila nodded, her throat tight. For the first time in years, she felt seen. As the paramedics worked, Ethan's phone buzzed. His app had alerted nearby hospitals, prioritizing his father's care. The paramedics marveled, one muttering, "Kid, this tech is unreal." Lila watched Ethan's face light up, a boy who'd hidden his brilliance now standing tall. But the real turning point came later, in the hospital waiting room. Ethan's father, stable and recovering, called Lila to his bedside. "You saved my life," he said, his voice thick with emotion. "And my son. He showed me who he really is because of you." He reached for a pen, scribbling a number on a napkin. "This is for you," he said, handing it to her. It was a check, enough to change her life. Lila shook her head, stepping back. "I didn't do it for money," she said. But Ethan's father insisted. "Then use it to keep being you," he said. "The world needs more people like you." Lila left the hospital that night, the check tucked in her pocket, her guitar slung over her shoulder. She didn't know what she'd do with the money. Maybe a place to sleep, maybe a chance to start over. But as she walked the city streets, now glowing under a starlit sky, she felt something new. Hope. She'd given a piece of herself to a stranger, expecting nothing, and in return she'd found a spark of purpose. Ethan, too, had changed. His secret skill, once hidden, was now his father's pride, a bridge between them rebuilt through crisis. Layla smiled, strumming a soft chord on her guitar. The city, once cold and cruel, seemed to hum with possibility. The story spread first through whispers, then news reports. A street girl and a CEO's son, unlikely allies saving a life with courage and code. People shared it, not just in the city, but across the country. A reminder that kindness could bridge divides, that selflessness could spark miracles. Lila never cashed the check. Instead, she used it to fund a small shelter for runaways, a place where kids like her could find safety and a song to call their own. Ethan, inspired by her, open-sourced his app, making it free for cities everywhere. Together, they proved that humanity's greatest strength lies not in wealth or power, but in the quiet acts of compassion that ripple outward, changing lives forever. And so, under the city's endless lights, a street girl and a boy with a secret skill reminded the world, no one is too small to make a difference, and no heart is too broken to heal another. Their story, born in an alley's shadows, became a beacon of hope, whispering to all who heard it, "Be kind, be brave, and never stop believing in the power of us."